It's me, Sandra, and it's the end of the month and I'm in front of the bird quilt, so must mean it's time to overview my monthly finances. If this is your first time clicking on a video, I'm literally gonna go over my finances for the past month and set up my budget for the next month with you here watching. So I'm glad you're here, let's get into it. Diving into November, if you've been to one of these videos before, this template is different. I actually created this myself because I didn't like the one that I was using and I wanted something that was super streamlined for me. By the time this video is live, this template should also be live on Etsy for a couple bucks if you want to support me and also get a tool out of it. Starting with my goals that I set for myself with November down here, I wanted to reset my savings. I'll kind of explain a little bit more about that. I wanted to get my snow tires figured out and stay on budget for personal spending. Generally speaking, we achieved that, but let's dive into the numbers. In October, I made $3,859 as an OT, and that's the money that I have to spend in November. I dog sat in November, and that was $200, so I got to spend that in November, and then my work contributed $200 to my student loans, and I tracked that just so that I can keep track of my student loans. So in total, I brought in $4,259.32. My OT calculation is a little bit low because I got a raise, but that money won't be applied until like December, so that's why it's a little low there. I am full-time, so like I get PTO. My paycheck's pretty stable. Fixed expenses, nothing surprising here. I spent $1,000 on fixed expenses, and then $295 went to my savings. I save every month for sinking funds. These are just things that I know are going to pop up throughout the year and be expensive and not affordable on a month-to-month. And I actually used these sinking funds this month, so let's kind of dive into that. So money that I spent from my savings was $308.53. So if we come over to my tracking table, we will see that there were two categories from savings spends that I pulled a little bit of money. The first was $177.53. Highlight this. $177.53 that I spent from my travel fund. I booked an Airbnb and paid the down payment for a girls trip that we're gonna take in May. So I'll actually be reimbursed a good majority of this money, but we wanted to book that Airbnb early, and I will always say yes to putting my card down with friends that I trust because free points, baby. That will come from my travel fund, which I save $100 a month for, so there's plenty in that bucket. $131 was for my snow tire swap over. This was a little bit more expensive because the tires that I had were on wheels, but the wheels weren't the right bolt pattern for my car. So in total, I spent $308 from my sinking funds. I do try to do zero-based budgeting, which is essentially just giving every dollar a job, but I usually have a little bit of fluctuation because I am paid hourly, like down to the minute, and I work 40-ish hours a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, which can lead to like $10 to $20 of fluctuation, whatever. And then my usual guilt-free spending, which I just keep track of on a credit card. I don't divvy this out. I don't say like dining was this and da-da-da was this because I have such a small amount of guilt-free spending each month. $250 is all I give myself, but then I'm allowed to spend it on whatever I want. Some months that's clothes, some months it's dining out. It really just fluctuates. So I don't like to budget per category because if I go over in a category, I feel really guilty about it. So I like to just say I have a flat $250 to spend, and I spent $174.07. $140 of it was for new winter gear, which was much needed because I did not own a good winter coat, and I live in the mountains of Colorado. So it was time. I think it was 60% off, so that was incredible. $34 was spent on dinners out. The first was $22.07 and the second was $12. If you don't drink alcohol, eating out is so cheap. So like I said, not a very social month, but I spent a lot of money on clothes, and that's where I like having that like fluctuation. But that leaves me with about $75 left over in that category, which is great. Jumping down to my debt, I am paying off student loan debt. I contributed $2,500 towards my debt, leaving me at $117,000 left to pay off. So we're chugging along. $2,300 of that was my money, and then $200 of that was the contribution from my job, which actually has not come through yet. So we'll see. And then I invested $50 to my Roth IRA. I am not going to retire on this money. I've already kind of mentioned that I will be reevaluating this, but wanted to get my financial feet under me first. So let's recheck in with our goals. Resetting my savings, I'll touch on as part of like my December conversation. Got my snow tires figured out. There are snow tires on my car right now, and I was on budget for personal spending. So all in all, great success. Let's dive into setting up December. I've already filled out some of this table. So things that are fun, we'll sort this by category and just go through it category at a time. Ooh, spicy. Okay, so my income Like I said, I'm offset a month. So money that I made in November, I spend in December, and November was a 3 paycheck month. So I brought in a total of $5,858, which is 1 paycheck more than I usually bring in. And that was fantastic. So let's add in one more thing, my savings here. And you'll see that I saved a crap ton of money. $1,200 of this was towards my emergency fund, but that was actually using my 3rd paycheck to contribute money there. Basically, the situation was that one of my bank accounts had a minimum, and if I was under that minimum, I got charged a fee, and I also didn't accrue interest. And I had for a while left just the minimum in there. That bank account I use as like a slush fund, so sometimes it would pull money automatically if whatever, and then I'd get charged $10 and I wouldn't be earning interest on that. So I wanted to beef it up, so I did that. I saved an additional $1,200 in that account, and now I won't ever hit that bottom. So I've like over the minimum. That's really what I wanted to do. So I saved a little extra. And then I also contributed to all of my savings buckets for the month already from income that I had. I believe that I've made 1 debt payment, but let's sort it again just to be sure. Oh, I've made 1 debt payment, but not the other. So so far I've contributed $11.50 to my loans. To be honest, I haven't gotten my 3rd paycheck, which is why it's just a carbon copy of the last one, because I get it on the last day of the month. And that wouldn't have given me time to film and edit this video. I am assuming it's going to be pretty close to my most recent paycheck at $19.32-ish. I think I worked a little bit of overtime in the last pay period. But yeah, I'll use that money to make a debt payment and then pay all my fixed expenses. Fixed expenses stay the same every month. That's their whole thing. Our holiday spending, we save for every single month. So I'll have to send some of that money to Jake's, my savings bucket, but we are on budget for our holiday spending, which is great. And that's where it's nice because I'm able to save $21 a month for gifts and cover my holiday expenses. He saves a little bit more. He makes a little bit more than me. That's how we kind of divvy up what we save each month. Let's see, what else do we need to cover in December? December. Oh, my goals for December. I also set these. One thing that I want to do in December is reevaluate my Roth IRA for 2025. I do want to be contributing more, and I need to be contributing more in order to retire on time. / early is the real goal, but on time. I want to keep my personal spending low, even though I do have that like guilt-free bucket. If that stays lower, I can build a little bit of a buffer in there. So I want to keep that low, and then I would like to make a whopper student loan payment with whatever is left over at the end of the month. So that's an overage of last month. We are all reset and ready to go, feeling fresh for December. Don't forget to subscribe to tag along for my financial journey and learn a little bit from me. And like I mentioned, this template, if it looks like something you would be able to use, is available to you. I'll link it down below. But really all you need to do to support me is like this video and tag along. Let me know what you would do differently or what I'm doing well. And thanks for being here.